2025 has seen the release of some great daily trainers. Today I'm bringing you 4 of the ones that I've tested this year and putting them head to head. Now we're coming up to that time of year where sales are kicking in, so I thought it'd be great to give you guys my feedback on the shoes that I'm logging some decent miles in so that you can make some informed choices as to whether you want to pick any of these up in the sale. Just a quick note, these are all shoes that I've purchased with my own money. So what we'll do with these shoes is we'll go through the pros and the cons of each of these shoes and then we'll pit them head to head. I feel like there's a clear divide in a set of 2 and then another set of 2, which we'll talk about when we get through the pros and cons. So let's dive in. So let's start with the Adidas EVO SL. There's got a lot of coverage from me earlier in the year. This is the first one of the 4 that I picked up, so we're going to do this in timeline order. So I got this one back earlier in February, I believe it was, and I've been through a couple of pairs. It was very hard to look past this shoe in terms of shoe of the year. This was fantastic. The only thing I noticed when I got the second pair is, as per the first pair, and I wondered if it was just a one-off or not, but it's clearly not, is that as I approached 300 miles in the shoe, and in fact the second pair more around 250, I found that my ankles were just starting to collapse in a little bit too much. I think the Light Strike Pro in this shoe is absolutely phenomenal, but because there's no support in there, no rods like I've been using in the Pro 3, and some of you guys will have been in the Pro 4 as well, and of course in the Boston 2, it does tend to seem to have a habit of collapsing inwards a little bit, and I've spoke to a few runners that have experienced the same thing. So that has kind of knocked it down a couple of points in terms of it's not quite as perfect as I'd have hoped it was. But to be fair, with the price that you can get this shoe now in the sales in particular, so a lot of these models you can get for in and around £100, which is absolutely incredible, and some Black Friday discounts are giving you even more. You're just looking at an incredible shoe, and then price per mile, if you can get 250 miles out of them, yes, it's not ideal, but for that sort of price it is absolutely phenomenal. The comfort in the upper is brilliant. I really like it. I know some people have commented saying it's a little bit sloppy fitting, which I can understand. In terms of Adidas shoes, in and around the heel counter area, that's where they've really improved things. It's very cushioned, very nice around here. Others can sometimes shred the back of the heel, so they made some good improvements back here. It's this section at the front here which some people can find a bit baggy. For me, I don't mind that at all. And in terms of the midsole, you know it, we've got a full slab of Light Strike Pro foam here, which is absolutely incredible. One of the best midsoles on the market, and then of course Continental rubber on the bottom. A different compounder rubber I believe at the back here, but overall the grip on these shoes is fantastic. We all know how good Continental rubber is. The only con I can think of in this shoe is the fact that the durability for me isn't as high, and it's not because the midsole's breaking down at all. I've got plenty of miles out of other Light Strike Pro foams. It's just a case of my ankles are rolling in, so I can't personally use it, and I know a lot of you guys feel the same. However, some of you can get some brilliant mileage out of it, and that honestly for me would put it top of the pile when it comes to shoe of the year if that happened to me. Fast forward to later in the year, I picked up the New Balance Rebel version 5, so I'd only ever tested the version 2. I missed the 3 and the 4, and I've picked up the 5. This is the only disappointment in the list, and if you've seen previous videos of mine, you'll know that I was a little bit gutted with this shoe. I find that everything in this shoe is great in terms of the fit, the comfort, the upper. Everything up here is fantastic, and it was a really nice feeling to run in a slightly wider shoe to give a bit more stability, but wasn't super heavy, unlike other big bulky shoes that are wide, sometimes can feel like you're running in moon boots. So I felt this brought the perfect blend of stability almost, even though it's not a stability shoe, just with the wider platform, but lightweight nature as well. And for the first 50 miles, it was absolutely fantastic, but it just started bottoming out so quickly. The main con in this, the midsole. No issues with the grip, that all felt good. And again, running a multitude of conditions with this shoe, really, really nice, and got some good easy miles in it. Put over 100 miles in it. But honestly, from 50 miles onwards, this shoe was not fun to run in. The midsole in this case is fuel cell, nothing in the midsole, no rods, no plates, no stabilizers, nothing. And it just turns to mush, and it gives absolutely nothing back. A few of you have warned me that this is how you found the Rebel version 4, and you were keen to know a durability and a long-term update, which I gave after 100 miles. And it looks like it's exactly the same as version 4. So from my perspective, it's not a shoe that I'm going to be picking up again until fuel cell has had a bit of a revamp, or they've done something different with this shoe. Overall, decent price point, lovely upper, lovely fitting shoe, nice and wide, very lightweight, just that midsole that lets it down. Fast forward again, I've picked up the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. Very impressed with this shoe. One con with the shoe, it's a narrow shoe. So for those of you who have a really wide foot, it's gonna feel a little bit constricting. However, I've tested version 1 of this shoe, version 2, missed version 3, and this is now version 4. This is the most exciting version of the shoe. I found version 1 and 2 a little bit dull, a little bit boring. It kind of is a bit of a Pegasus shoe in terms of it's a very bog standard, easy daily trainer. But I found with version 1 and 2 that it wasn't that exciting. I'd still choose those versions over the Pegasus because I'm not a fan of that shoe at all. But this one has really had a bit of life thrown into it, and that is due to the midsole. And I praised Puma in my recent 4 best midsoles videos for saying that they have pretty much produced the best midsoles of the year. From their base entry level shoe, this one, all the way up to their racing shoes, nothing is competing. I think my favourites on the market right now, Lightstrike Pro, and then this stuff as well. Now we're looking at a shoe here that retails at £109 or £110, which is mind-blowingly cheap in this day and age with shoes. You're looking at a very basic shoe that does the easy running well. However, the midsole is absolutely top class, and for £110, it's incredible. I actually picked this pair up for £75. I got some discounts off it, which was incredible, which makes it even better value. And I know again in Black Friday, there are more opportunities to get this shoe cheap. Definitely one of my favorites, lovely snug fitting upper. I do have a slightly wider foot, so I do notice the narrowness. It doesn't cause any issues for me, but I do feel like my toes are snug. I mentioned this in the previous video. My toes feel like they are like this, not kind of bunched over, but they do feel tight together in the shoe. But otherwise, absolutely fantastic. Love the flare away, nice and comfortable around here. Lots of good cushioning, very nice upper in terms of the fact that it just hugs the foot. I did run in the wet today. It has picked up quite a bit of weight, so it does feel a little bit heavier than normal, but the midsole is where the magic happens in this shoe. So yeah, the only con, it's narrow. Now I think I got this in the right order. This is the latest one I picked up, the Ning Red Hare 8 Pro. I picked up the Challenger 5 from Ning before the Puma, but I think I've got this one after. And wow, what a daily trainer this one is. I've been massively impressed with the Ning brand in terms of the 2 shoes that I've tested. They're literally the only 2 shoes that I can get in my size, but it's great to be able to test them out. And the price that I paid for this shoe, I think was around 60 something pounds. And again, I know someone messaged me the other day. There was a sale on AliExpress where I got this from, and people were able to pick this up for like £45 or something, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Now this again is a slightly narrower shoe, more so in the midfoot. It does widen a bit more than the Puma in the forefoot, which is great. That suits my foot shape fine. I can deal with a narrow midfoot. It's when it's narrow at the top here, that's when I tend to struggle. So this literally molds to my foot. Lovely lightweight fitting upper, lovely late stage rocker in the shoe, super critical beaded Puma midsole, which is absolutely wonderful. And in this one, we've got a bit of a stabilizer here at the back. This is plastic. It only goes up to halfway, and it just allows a bit of a smoother transition from front to back in the shoe. You can really move in it. It's really nice, and the grip is okay. This is probably the grip I trust the least. However, it hasn't let me down yet. It just, I don't know why, I've just got a few concerns about it as we move into the wetter weather. No issues so far. Took it out on a really good, nearly 17-mile long run this week in the wet on the trails, and it was fine. I don't know, it just feels like it might not be as durable as the others, but honestly, for the price I paid for it, absolutely fantastic. If I was to give it a con, it would only be that potentially the grip might not last too long. However, I don't know that for a fact, therefore I can't really give it a con. So let's break these down into the 2 categories that I think these shoes fall into. So for me, these 2 in particular are very much just easy and steady day shoes. Nothing more than that. Although I got a workout done in this shoe as part of its first bit of testing, I wouldn't want to do it again. And although, as I said, I've been disappointed with it, I really only after that took it for easy and steady runs. Very hard to recommend this shoe. I'm not going to recommend this shoe just because of how poor the midsole is. But in terms of the use case of the shoe, very much a case of being easy and steady. Same as this shoe. I don't think this is something I could lace up and run long in, so I'm going to be very careful on how I clarify daily trainer here, because I think a lot of people might look at daily trainer and go, it's just your easy miles, those recovery days. And I actually put that in a slightly separate category. For a daily trainer, it's something I could look at and go, I could do absolutely anything in you, more so the easy and steady miles. But if on any given day I fancy picking up the pace in it, or I could go a little bit longer, it could do the job, because ultimately ultimately it's a daily trainer and I could use it every single day if I wanted to. So I very much feel like these are more reserved just for those easy steady days. I probably more so want to take this one for slightly longer runs, but in terms of picking up the pace, these two are certainly not ones that I would consider doing that in. These two on the other hand are completely the opposite. So I would run easy and steady in them, and I do, and I have with this one. Obviously it's retired now, but I did so many easy miles in this shoe and steady miles, absolutely fantastic. Also lots of long run workouts and workouts in general. It did everything for me. It encompassed everything I'm looking for in a daily trainer, and this one is doing the same. To be completely honest with you, I knew I had a good feeling about this one, and when I took it out for the long run this week, it was spectacular. I got my usual 4x3k done within the long run, so I was able to pick up the pace, nearly covered 17 miles, and all the while no hot spots, no rubbing, no nothing. It just felt really good, and I think what lends itself to that are these late stage rockers that we can find in these shoes. They just help put you up on your toes a little bit more, so they help you roll through the gait cycle nicely, nice and lightweight, and I think the foams in these shoes just allow you to push the pace a little bit more. They're a little bit more responsive, and they give you a little bit more feedback when you do end up picking up the pace. Something like this, the Glycerin 22, is completely the other end of the spectrum in terms of this is what I would class as maybe just an easy day shoe on its own, and some people would label that as a recovery day shoe. So that's how I define dailies and then easies. A daily is something that I can pick up and do absolutely anything in if I wanted to. If I want a recovery day plodder, this is the type of shoe I'd go for. In terms of recommendations, I'd recommend all of these three shoes. More so if you're looking just for an easy and steady day shoe, this one absolutely is fantastic. If you've got a narrower foot, so just beware if you have a wider foot. But honestly, this is a really good update to what I've tested in the past. Missed version 3, so this is a great update from 2 and 1 for me. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. As for these two, recommend both of them. You might be all right with this one in terms of going past 300 miles. You might find that you have no issues whatsoever. I'd suspect more so if you land on the outside of your foot a lot more than someone like myself, you'll be absolutely fine. Because I'm a little bit more flat when I do land, I tend to roll in a lot more, and that's when I get issues with shoes. It's not just the Evo I've had it with a few in the past too. So I do benefit from having rods in Adidas shoes, which is why I go through so many pairs of the Pro 3. But this is absolutely phenomenal, and this, well, I'm honestly lost for words in terms of the price that you can get this for and how good it is. For me at the moment, I'm looking at this as a replacement for the EVO SL. I don't need both of these in my rotation, but I think at the moment, if you can pick this up with a crazy discount for £50 off AliExpress, there is nothing better on the market that you need. This is very much speed version 1, speed version 2, very similar setup, very similar shape, very similar feeling. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorites. So there we go. Those are 4 of my favorites of the year. I'd love to hear from you which daily trainers that you have tested this year. What are your favorites? Please do drop a comment below. I know a lot of people have recommended the Salomon Aero Glide 3 to me. I've been picking that up in the comments a lot this year. Maybe it's something I can try and pick up in the sales. I'd love to hear if you're one of those people that's been recommending it. You've been saying it's absolutely incredible. Any other options, do let me know down in the comments. It'd be great to hear from you down there. And if you missed the midsole video, I'll make sure I leave a link to that on screen here so you can see that. Some of my favorites are talked about in there, and I'll see you over there.